Rafael Nadal's emotional message to Alex Eala wasn't just a gesture, it was a moment that broke the internet. When the tennis legend responded to Eala's heartfelt second home tribute, nobody expected what would happen next. A single Instagram post turned into a global conversation about legacy, respect, and the invisible bonds that connect generations of champions. What started as gratitude became something far more powerful, and the world couldn't look away. Madrid, Spain, May 2024. The Caja Magica Stadium buzzed with energy as Alex Eala walked off the court after a hard-fought three-set victory in the qualifying rounds of the Madrid Open. Sweat dripped from her forehead. Her hands trembled slightly as she gripped her racket. This wasn't just another win. This was validation. This was proof that years of sacrifice, of training thousands of miles away from home, of bleeding on clay courts under the scorching Spanish sun, had meant something. The post-match interview was supposed to be routine: standard questions, standard answers, thank the crowd, mention the next opponent, move on. But when the interviewer asked Eala about what it meant to compete in Madrid, something shifted in her expression. Her eyes softened, her voice cracked just slightly, and then she said the words that would change everything. Spain is my second home. Everything I am as a tennis player, I owe to this country, to the Rafael Nadal Academy, to the people who believed in me when I was just a kid from the Philippines with a dream that seemed impossible. The crowd erupted. Applause echoed through the stadium. But Eala wasn't finished. She continued, her voice growing stronger, more emotional. Rafael Nadal gave me more than training. He gave me a chance. He gave me a family when I was alone, and I will never forget that. This win, it's for him. It's for everyone at the academy who saw something in me. The interview ended. Eala walked away, and within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Filipino sports networks replayed it on loop. Spanish media called it one of the most heartfelt tributes ever given by a young athlete. Headlines screamed, Alex Eala's emotional tribute to Nadal brings tears to Madrid, the gift that honored a legend. Eala declares Spain her second home in stunning post-match speech. But here's what made it different. This wasn't just a thank you. This was raw, unfiltered, real. Eala didn't mention sponsors. She didn't name drop for publicity. She spoke from a place of genuine gratitude, and people felt it. Fans who had never heard of Alex Eala suddenly wanted to know her story. Who was this young Filipina who trained at Nadal's academy? Why did she feel so connected to Spain? And more importantly, would Rafa respond? Because that's what everyone was waiting for. A response and acknowledgement. Something. Nadal was known for being humble, for staying out of the spotlight unless absolutely necessary, but this was different. One of his academy's brightest stars had just publicly honored him in front of thousands. The tennis world held its breath. And then, silence. But Nadal's silence wasn't what people expected. What happened next would shock everyone and reveal a side of the tennis legend the world had never seen before. Days passed. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, no response from Rafael Nadal. Not a tweet, not an Instagram story, nothing. And with every passing hour, the speculation grew louder. Social media became a battleground of theories, opinions, and hot takes. Everyone had something to say. On Twitter, Filipino fans were relentless. Hashtags like "Thank you, Rafa" and hashtag Eala and Nadal trended globally. Filipinos flooded Nadal's Instagram comments with gratitude messages, photos of Eala, and heart emojis. Some tagged him repeatedly, desperate for acknowledgement. One viral tweet read, "Rafa, Alex Eala just gave you the most beautiful tribute. The world is watching. Say something." But Spanish fans had a different reaction. Some celebrated Eala's words, others questioned them. Tennis forums lit up with debate. Was Eala using Nadal's name to boost her profile? Was this genuine or strategic? One Reddit thread titled, "Did Alex Eala cross a line?" gathered thousands of comments. Critics argued that public displays of gratitude felt performative, that real mentorship didn't need validation through viral moments. Meanwhile, sports analysts dissected every angle. ESPN ran a segment asking if Nadal's silence was intentional. Was he uncomfortable with public praise? Did he even know about Eala's tribute? Some pointed out that Nadal rarely engaged with social media drama. Others suggested he was waiting for the right moment, the right words. And then there were the conspiracy theorists. A small but vocal group claimed Eala's entire speech was scripted by her PR team to generate buzz before the French Open. They analyzed her body language, her phrasing, her timing. They claimed it was all too perfect, too calculated. These voices were harsh, accusatory, and relentless. But the majority of fans? They just wanted to see Rafa acknowledge the girl who had poured her heart out for him, because they understood what this meant. Alex Eala wasn't just any player, she was a symbol, a young woman from the Philippines who had traveled across the world to train at one of the most elite academies in tennis history. She had left her family, her country, her comfort zone, all for a shot at greatness. And Nadal's academy had given her that shot. The pressure mounted. Sports journalists reached out to Nadal's team for comment. His agent declined. His publicist stayed silent. The Rafael Nadal Academy released a generic statement praising Eala's progress, but said nothing about Nadal himself. Fans grew frustrated. Some defended Rafa, saying he didn't owe anyone a public response. Others felt disappointed, even hurt. If Eala truly mattered to him, why the silence? 4 days after Eala's tribute, the internet was at a boiling point. Memes circulated, pieces were published, everyone had an opinion. And just when it seemed like the moment had passed, when people were starting to move on to the next viral story, everything changed. Because Rafael Nadal finally spoke, and what he said would break the internet all over again. When Nadal finally responded, it wasn't through a tweet or a press release. It was something far more personal and far more powerful than anyone imagined. It was late evening in Mallorca when Rafael Nadal sat down in front of a camera. Not in a studio, not at a press conference, but in his home. The background was simple. White walls, a few family photos, natural light streaming through a window. He wore a casual t-shirt, no makeup, no script, just Rafa, unfiltered and real. The video was posted directly to his Instagram account, 3 minutes and 47 seconds long. The caption was short. Para Alex, para todos los que sueñan. For Alex, for everyone who dreams. The video began with Nadal looking directly into the camera. His expression was serious, thoughtful, and then he spoke, in Spanish with English subtitles. Alex, I saw your words after your match in Madrid, and I have to tell you, I am the one who is grateful, not you, me. He paused. His voice was steady but emotional. You could hear the weight behind every word. When you came to the academy, you were 13 years old, a kid from the Philippines with a dream bigger than most people thought possible. You didn't speak Spanish, you didn't know anyone, but you had something that cannot be taught. You had heart, you had fire, and you had the courage to leave everything behind for a chance. Nadal leaned forward slightly, his hands clasped together. I have seen many young players come through the academy, many with talent, many with potential, but very few with your spirit. You trained when others rested. You fought when others gave up. You believed when others doubted. And that is why you are where you are today. Not because of me, because of you. The words hit like a punch. Fans watching the video felt their throats tighten. Crying emojis, heart emojis, messages in Tagalog, Spanish, English. But Nadal wasn't done. You called Spain your second home, and I want you to know you are right. This is your home. The academy is your home, and I am proud to have played even a small part in your journey. When I see you on the court fighting, never giving up, I see the values we try to teach here. Respect, humility, hard work. You represent those values better than anyone. He smiled for the first time in the video, a genuine, warm smile. So thank you, Alex, for reminding me why we do this, for showing the world what is possible when you believe in yourself, and for making all of us at the Academy so incredibly proud. Keep fighting, keep dreaming, and never forget where you come from, because that strength will carry you farther than any forehand or backhand ever will. The video ended. The screen faded to black, and the internet exploded. Within an hour, the video had over 2 million views. Within 3 hours, it was trending globally. News outlets scrambled to cover the story. Rafa's emotional message to Alex breaks the internet. Rafa's heartfelt response leaves fans in tears. The video everyone is talking about. Filipino celebrities reposted it. Spanish athletes shared it. Tennis legends like Serena Williams and Roger Federer liked the post. Even non-tennis fans were moved, because this wasn't about sports anymore. This was about mentorship, legacy, humanity. Alex Eala herself responded hours later with a tearful Instagram story. She couldn't even speak at first, just wiped her eyes, smiled, and whispered, "Thank you, Rafa. Thank you for everything." The vulnerability was raw, real, and it made the moment even more powerful. But not everyone celebrated. Just when it seemed like the story had a perfect ending, the backlash began, and it was brutal. The revelation came from an unlikely source. A junior coach at the Rafael Nadal Academy named Carlos Moya, no relation to the famous Carlos Moya, posted a thread on Twitter that would shift the entire narrative. "I've stayed quiet during this whole debate, but I can't anymore. People calling this a PR stunt have no idea what they're talking about. Let me tell you what really happened with Alex Eala." The thread went viral instantly. Moya explained that when Eala first arrived at the academy in 2015, her family couldn't afford the full fees. She was talented, yes, but so were dozens of other kids. What made her situation different was Nadal's personal intervention. Rafa saw her play once, just once, and he told us, "Find a way to make this work." He personally covered part of her expenses, not the academy, him, out of his own pocket, and he never told anyone, not the media, not sponsors, nobody. The thread continued. Moya described how Nadal would occasionally show up to Eala's training sessions unannounced, how he'd stay after hours to give her advice, how he'd check in with coaches about her progress, how he'd send her messages before big matches, messages she never shared publicly. He did this for her because he saw something special, not because of cameras, not because of publicity, because that's who Rafa is. Other academy staff began confirming the story. A nutritionist shared that Nadal had arranged for Eala to receive specialized meal plans when her family couldn't afford them. A physiotherapist revealed that Nadal had personally paid for Eala's injury treatments after a severe ankle sprain in 2018. Former academy students came forward too. They shared their own stories, not of jealousy, but of witnessing Nadal's quiet generosity. One player wrote, "Rafa helped me too. I never said anything because he asked me not to. He doesn't do this for recognition. He does it because he believes in us." Journalists began digging deeper. They found interviews from years ago where Eala had briefly mentioned Nadal's support, but never elaborated. They found footage of Nadal watching her matches from the stands, applauding quietly in the background, never seeking attention. The narrative flipped completely. Critics who had called it a PR stunt went silent. Some deleted their tweets. Others issued apologies. The blogger who had accused Eala of manipulation posted a retraction. "I was wrong. I let cynicism cloud my judgment. This was real, and I'm sorry." Filipino news outlets ran emotional segments highlighting Nadal's years of hidden support. Spanish media praised him not just as a tennis legend, but as a humanitarian. The hashtag #ThankYouRafa trended again, but this time it wasn't just from Filipino fans, it was global. Alex Eala finally broke her silence with a lengthy Instagram post. She thanked everyone for their support. She addressed the critics with grace, and she shared something she had never shared before, a photo from 2016 of her and Nadal after her first junior tournament win. She was holding a small trophy. He was smiling beside her, his hand on her shoulder. The caption read, "He told me that day, this is just the beginning. He believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. That's the gift he gave me, not just tennis, but belief." The post received over 5 million likes. Comments poured in from athletes, celebrities, and fans around the world. The story wasn't about controversy anymore. It was about something deeper, something that transcended sports. It was about legacy. So what does this all mean? Why did this moment matter so much? And what can we learn from a simple tribute that became a global phenomenon? In the end, this story was never really about tennis. It was about connection, about the invisible threads that bind people across borders, languages, and circumstances. It was about a young girl who dared to dream and a legend who chose to lift her up, not for glory, but because he saw himself in her struggle. Rafael Nadal didn't have to help Alex Eala. He didn't owe her anything. But he did it anyway, because that's what true mentorship looks like. It's not transactional. It's not performative. It's quiet. It's consistent. And it asks for nothing in return. Eala's tribute wasn't calculated. It wasn't a publicity stunt. It was a moment of raw, unfiltered gratitude. She spoke from the heart because her heart was full. And when Nadal responded, he didn't do it for the cameras. He did it because he wanted her to know, truly know, that her journey mattered. The backlash, the skepticism, the conspiracy theories, they all revealed something uncomfortable about modern culture. We've become so accustomed to cynicism that we struggle to recognize authenticity when it's right in front of us. We assume the worst because we've been disappointed before. But sometimes, just sometimes, a beautiful moment is exactly what it appears to be. What this story taught us is that legacy isn't built in stadiums or on podiums. It's built in the quiet moments, the early mornings when nobody's watching, the sacrifices nobody sees, the belief you give to someone when they're too tired to believe in themselves. Nadal's legacy won't just be his Grand Slam titles or his dominance on clay. It will be the lives he changed, the dreams he protected, the young athletes who will carry his values forward long after he's retired. And Alex Eala? She's just getting started, but she's already shown the world something invaluable. She's shown that gratitude matters, that honoring those who helped you isn't weakness, it's strength, and that sometimes, just sometimes, a beautiful moment is exactly what it appears to be. This wasn't just a viral moment. This was a reminder of what sports can be at their best. A platform for human connection, a stage for showing the world that kindness, mentorship, and gratitude still matter. Rafael Nadal's emotional message to Alex Eala will be remembered not because it trended on Twitter, but because it touched something real in all of us. It reminded us that behind every champion is someone who believed in them first. And that legacy, the truest kind of legacy, is built one life at a time. So here's the question we're left with. In a world obsessed with winning, with fame, with going viral, are we still willing to honor the quiet heroes who make it all possible?